Welcome to the Core of Success podcast. Entrepreneurship, success, health, life. Big things are in your future. And now, your hosts, Sean and Mike.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 21 of the Core of Success podcast and the first one of 2020. What about that, Mike?
2020 is here, man. Super excited to be back on the Core of Success. And, like we said at the finish of 19, Sean, we hope we got some great intel, some really good info for you out there. And we're gonna double down on it this year for sure. More good stuff coming.
We really appreciate everybody that's tuned in, people that have left some reviews for us, people that have been guests, giving us suggestions on topics, so on and so forth. And it's going to be fun this year. We're going to be bringing a lot of content, a lot of guests, a lot of cool interviews, on location podcasts and stuff. So some great things to come, and we are just super excited about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got some great ideas. Like you said, I think the first year, we gave you some really good content out there. Like you said, based on the feedback from our listeners out there. So thanks for everyone that's listening. Like you said, sending a review in, people that we see at the different visits. They're checking out, which is great. We love that. And tell more people, tell more friends, send the ideas over, man. Let's do big things here in 2020.
Yeah, and if you are listening now and you haven't left a review, please do so. Good, bad, or otherwise, let us know what you think, because we are here to serve. But as I titled today's episode, Mike, here we go.
Yeah, man.
2020 is here. It's a new year. As everybody knows, it's a new decade. I know there's some debate over the technical bit about that, but who cares? It's a new decade for all intents and purposes. And people are fired up, People want to change. People want to grow. People want to be a little bit better than they were last year. What do you think about that?
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. I love all the positive. You know me, man. I love the positivity. I love the energy. But I'm hoping it's backed up by actions, right? So we're going to talk about that today. I love all the talk, man, on January 1. But what's funny is, although I was there on January 1st, the gym wasn't as crowded as I suspected.
Interesting.
But the next day it was a little more crowded. So
the old "I'll start tomorrow" routine, right?
That's right.
I think a lot of these things that people say often, unfortunately, can become sound bites. It sounds good. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But here at the Core of Success, we are not about that. We are about winning, about giving you the tools to succeed. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Right.
How to take all these things that often happen at the start of a new year and make them real for you so that you can win this year. So, Mike, in one word, winning to me is about progress. And I believe that progress is the secret to a happy and fulfilled life. What do you think about that?
Couldn't agree more, man. 100%. As you're moving forward, as you're growing, as you're learning, you feel a hell of a lot more fulfilled. You just do, right? And as you're growing, you can look back on the accomplishments, right? Like we did as a company. And I'm sure, hopefully you're doing that as a company or with your family and with your kids. What did we do in 19? What did we really do? Good, bad, whatever. But being fulfilled and doing it is really, is learning, it's growing. And that's, to me, that's the key, man. That's what really keeps you going and keeps you energized for sure.
Yeah, because let me give everybody listening a guarantee. You ready for this? It's hard. There's not a lot of guarantees in life, but I'm going to give you one. So you have your pencil, sharpen it up, write this down. This year will not be the same as last year.
No.
That's a guarantee. It's going to be one of two things. It's going to be better or it's going to be worse. And that's just life. That's what I believe. It will not be the same. So the decisions that you're making right now, the habits that you're starting to create, the actions that you are taking are either going to make this year better or it is going to make this year worse. That's it. And I believe that we want to be better. I believe that everybody wants to be better because progress, no matter how small, is moving forward. That's making it better than it was last year. And when you do that in any area of your life, it's going to bring you happiness and it's going to bring you fulfillment.
Yeah, I totally, that's a great point. I really believe too, that if you're not moving forward, then you're moving backward. There is no the same. right? If you're not growing, then you're dying. You got to be moving forward, or you are going backward, because
Yes.
everything else is increased. Everything else is tenfold now. But if you're not increasing your business, you're not increasing what you're doing, healthy habits, you're going backwards, man.
100%.
Sure. Yep.
So in order to know if someone is progressing, I believe that a critical step a lot of people miss is evaluating what has happened. And I'm not saying by any stretch to get stuck in the past, because that's very easy to do. We can't trip over things that are behind us. But you need to stop, you need to pause, you need to take a look back and say, okay, what happened in the past week, past month, past quarter, past year? So then we can start to make a plan for moving forward. Number one, Mike, do you agree with that? And number two, if you do, how do you do it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because a lot of times you've done some really great things in the past year. Like look at, with our business, right? We've just did this. We just had this exercise, which is incredibly important. And you really go back and say, oh shit. Because sometimes you forget about some of the good stuff that happened maybe early on in 19 or whatever. So yeah, really critical to see the wins. But most importantly, I think for us too, is to see the things we missed on, right? To see the things like, man, we just didn't hit on that. We didn't put enough focus there. We didn't put enough attention there. If we did, damn, we could have raised the bar a little bit more. We could have changed more lives. So yeah, I think it's really critical to look back and evaluate on what went well and what didn't go well,
Yeah, it's really hard to put a plan in place to get where you want to go if you don't know where you are.
Yes.
And people often forget that. They make these grandiose statements, I'm going to do this. Well, based on where you are, it's very difficult. And again, I'm not saying to get stuck there, because that's a mistake a lot of people make too. Oh, well, this is all that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to know that before I take any action. No. Before you put into play a proper plan, you just need to have a snapshot of what happened. And you referenced the exercise. So for those of you listening, we just came out of our 2-day annual strategy meeting for the company, but a lot of the exercises that we do there apply to not only businesses, but you can apply them to your personal life. And one of those exercises that we did, which Mike is referencing, is we do something known as listing our accomplishments and lessons learned. And all we simply do, we take a big piece of paper, we stick it to the wall, and it's just a brainstorming session. Just rattle off the accomplishments of the past year, rattle off the accomplishments of the past quarter, whatever time frame you're looking at, and then also rattle off the lessons that you learned. And like Mike said, a lot of times, if you don't think you were having that great of a time period, you see all the things that you accomplished and your mind changes. Holy cow, I forgot that we did that. And somebody else in the room says, oh yeah, and we also did this. And that kind of lifts things. But the lessons learned, that part of that exercise really brings into play the reality. Wow, here are some of the things, like you said, some of the areas where we really missed. So it gives a great snapshot. And it's something that can be done in 15 to 20 minutes. You don't need to spend all day on that, but just rattle some of those things off. What went well? What lessons did we learn, good or bad? And that'll kind of give you a little bit of a take of where you are.
Yeah, you have to do that. And I think too, what you'll find, especially with the lessons learned, and a lot of times it's, you just didn't put enough emphasis on it. You just didn't follow through on it. It became less of a priority for whatever reason. It just wasn't, top of mind, or wasn't at the forefront of what you were doing every day, on a daily basis. And then you see that. And that's why it's really important to look at that and say, okay, if we really believe this is important, then we're going to have to, do this now in 2020. But a lot of times that's where it gets missed, because if you don't go back and look, you're just kind of going by, you're just seat of your pants, so to speak, right? You don't know what the hell you're doing and where you're going. So yeah, really, really important to do that.
Yeah. And the other thing that we did in that exercise is we did a little exercise that I entitled Let It Go. And I had written about this on LinkedIn, but I believe that in order to move forward, you have to let go of certain mindsets, certain habits that you have. So, but it's hard to do that, again, if you don't evaluate what exactly happened in the time period that you're looking at. And I think those are the two key areas. You need to take a look at your mindsets. Do you really believe that you can make progress in these areas? Because if that answer is no, you're shooting yourself in the foot before you even start. And then what are some of the habits? Well, yeah, I believe that I can get there, but my habits are I only put in about 12 minutes a day actually doing it. Well, is that enough? Is that the right habit that's going to get you to win? So taking a look at mindsets and habits and then matching them up against accomplishments and lessons kind of gives you a nice framework of where you currently are, which again, I personally believe is critical in order to put the plan in place to win moving forward.
Yeah, and the habits are, what you're doing every day, it's going to help you win. You have to just be cognizant and be aware. I mean, I know when we went through this example, it was really helpful for me. one of my things, just on a personal example, is, really like just to believe that everyone wants to win as bad as I do. And sometimes it's not just the case. And how do I really get in that habit of checking and evaluating and making sure we're all on the same page, making sure their why and their purpose is the same, right?
Yeah.
But you really have to do that. It's really critical. The mindset, like you said, the habits, man, every day that's going to lead you to win.
Yep.
Love that.
So great, simple exercise anybody can do personally or business. I like what you said, do it with your family, do it with your kids and so
Yeah.
on. And I think it can really set the tone for the new year because as you know, and as everybody knows, at the start of the new year, a lot of people start to make resolutions, right? New Year's
Yeah.
resolution is not a novel concept. It's hyped all over the media and the news. People talk about it around the water cooler and so on. But why do people make resolutions?
I think a lot of times they have good intentions, right? I
Yep.
think they really do. Everybody wants to feel good, right? You want to get that feeling, yeah, I'm going to do it. I know, because I think they know they want to do something. I mean, the easiest example that we have, especially in our industry, is people that want to get in better shape, right? They want to lose weight. Why do you want to do it? Well, that's what you should be doing, right? So it's easy to say, okay, hey, I know I'm supposed to be doing that. So I'm going to do it this year. It makes you feel good for that moment. Yeah, this is the year. I'm going to wait till another week now to do it. But still, when January 2020 comes, man, it's on. Forget it. I'm changing everything. I'm going to go in there and conquer the world.
Yeah.
So
Because
it's
I
a
think
feeling of
people,
feel good.
yeah, people intentionally, just by nature, I think people want to be better, right? As we said at the start, progress is the secret to a happy and fulfilled life. And I do think that's in almost everybody, is they know that I can be a little bit better than I was or better than I am. And that's why I think they sit down and say, okay, I'm going to make these resolutions. But it's also no secret, Mike, that most of these go by the wayside very quickly. You used the example earlier about the gym. You say, okay, on January 2nd, it started to pick up. Everybody can relate to that who goes to the gym. But everybody can also relate that by February, March, the latest, most of the regulars are the ones that you're seeing. Maybe you pick up a few new ones, but the majority of those new folk, quote unquote, are no longer there. And I think that a part of the big problem there's nothing wrong with making resolutions, but I'm not convinced that people really choose the right things that they need to change.
Yeah, and it goes back to some of our, what we alluded to in our earlier podcasts, right? It's like, why are you choosing that? If you really ask yourself, well, why do you want to lose weight?
Yeah.
Those whys, why do you want to lose weight? Or, why do you want to grow your business? There's got to be that reason of why. And I think a lot of times you just don't see it. Like when folks join a gym, because maybe I'm just supposed to do it.
Yes.
But really, if you get down to it, like, why do you want to lose weight? Because you have your daughter's wedding coming up, or you just want to feel better, have more energy with your family, more energy at work, be more productive. But you really got to get to the why of it. If you don't do that,
that's critical.
Yeah,
the why is critical. And I think that people, like you said, they choose the popular. Well, I want to lose some weight. Everybody says that, right? Or I'm going to spend a little bit more time with my family. But why do you want to do that? If you go back to the episode we did with Michael from Taiwan, World Gym Taiwan, one of the things he said is a goal without a why is like an empty glass of water. It does no good, right? It's not going to serve any purpose. So you have to understand that why. And I think that once you have that, you can start to create the habits that are going to get you there. But what I've found in my experience is that people often focus on the outcome, not the habit. And here's what I mean by that. They say, oh, I'm going to lose weight, right? That's the outcome. But they haven't taken a look at the habits that are going to get them there, right? Do you really have a plan? So the exercise that you're going to do you really have a plan for how you're going to stop eating so much sugar if that's your problem, so on and so forth? Those are the habits, right? Another one would be, I'm going to save more, right? That's an outcome. But the habits that they forget are, okay, I'm not going to eat out every day. I'm not going to, go on Amazon every night just because I'm bored and buy things, right? They have to start creating the habits. So I think that when people are starting to think about these resolutions, it's really important, as you said, to understand the why, and B, to understand the habits that are going to get you to that outcome. The resolution, so to speak, that thing that you want, that's almost secondary. That'll happen if you have the strong enough why and if you have the strong enough habits. But most people just stop at the resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to save more. I'm going to spend more time with the family. But they never dig deeper than that. And that's the problem.
Yeah, if you look at it from a business standpoint, right? Everyone going into 2020 now, I'm sure you're looking at your numbers, right? And your goals and your targets and where you need to be, and everybody, yeah, let's go. We're going to increase 5%, 7, 10, 12, 15, whatever your number is, right? Of your goals. What are the habits that are going to get you there? Yeah, that's the outcome you want to get to. That's your target. What's the habit? What are you doing every day that's going to get you there? You're making more calls. Are you setting more appointments? What are you doing that's really going to get you there every single day? Because I'll tell you, if you don't have those habits, and again, it goes back to the mindset as well, right? But the habits that are going to get you're never going to get there. You're just not. Especially if you're doing the same shit you were doing last year, it's not going to work, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I hope people are starting to connect these dots now.
Yeah.
You have to understand what happened last year. What were you doing? What were the results of that? If you don't understand that, it's very easy to say, oh, I'm going to be better this year, but you don't know exactly what that means. And that's why I often say that New Year's resolutions are a trap. People often set themselves up for failure with their resolutions because they didn't do the steps properly to begin with. And those are the steps that we just shared. Understand what you were doing last year. What did you accomplish? What did you learn from those habits that you had? And did they get you where you want to go? And if not, how do you have to change them? Because I find, Mike, that in the New Year's resolutions, most people go to the extremes, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to work out 6 days a week. Well, how many are you working out now? Well, none. Okay. I'm never going to have any more sugar. I'm going to go on this juice cleanse. Those are extremes. And you always lose in the extremes because we're just not made for that. Maybe you'll do it for a week. Maybe you'll do it for a month. And granted, everybody knows that one somebody who did it, right? But that's not the norm. So when you set yourself up in these extremes, I believe it's just a trap that people fall into, and there's a better way.
Yeah, sustainable habits over the long haul are going to win every time.
Yep.
Starting your day off. Like for me, one of my things, we'll talk a little bit about goals in a minute, is I know you're awesome at this, is, posting every day, doing something on Instagram and LinkedIn. That's one of the things that I'm going to do. But I didn't go from 0 to every day, right? We're doing 4 or 5 days a week. But, and there's also the why part of it that you have to understand, and the purpose of why you're doing this, for sure. But yeah, the habits that are going to get you there every single day. And I go back to a lot with the sales. How are you going to talk to more customers? Well, you better pick up the phone more than you did last year, right? Yeah. How are you going to get more appointments? You better pick up the phone more than you did last year. Well, how can you do that? What about your training? Like, what are your daily habits from the moment you wake up to the moment you shut it down that are going to get you to where you need to go, and not just by hoping for it?
Yeah, hoping is not a plan, right? But like you said, okay, I heard you talking with your sales teams this week about some of the changes that you guys want to make. And one of the things you didn't say to them, okay, you guys are now doing, let's say 150 calls a week. We're going to go to 400 because that's an extreme. They can't get there. But what you said is that we're going to increase by X amount. And here's why we're doing that. And here's how we're going to do it. For simple example, we're going to put in some call blocks twice a day. All we're doing for these hours, we're going to pound the phones and that. Well, you're starting to create that habit for them. You're giving them that path to win. Because if not, a lot of times people will go to the extreme on either side. They'll say, oh, I think that I can do it in 15 calls a day. Well, I don't think that's going to work. And then you got other people that are going to say, I'm going to do 75 calls a day. And that isn't often realistic either. So those extremes, either high or low, really lead people down a trap. And that's not going to get them to the resolution or the goal that they're originally setting out to accomplish, especially at this start of the new year.
And to have that target as well is really important, because I've oftentimes talked to many folks, and with the sales managers, CEOs, owners, and even other salespeople, and you talk to them. Oh yeah, man, how'd you do today? Oh, I did great. I got 4 appointments. How many calls do you think you made? Oh, I made at least 50, 60 calls. You made like 12 calls.
Right.
It's what's that habit that's going to take you there? You have your targets, but what are those habits? Like you mentioned, the call blocks and what's going to get you there. But yeah, that's really, really important to have those, for sure. But it's really, being realistic too. What's really going to get you there? Not the extreme, something you're going to be able to do every single day where you're motivated, fired up, sustainable over the long haul to win.
So you're mentioning the word target, which is another way of saying goals, right?
For sure.
And you and I are both believers in this. And I think if you go back and you look at anybody who's had success in any area of their life, at some point they stopped and they set some goals for themselves. So why is that so important?
Well, again, it goes back to having that target, right? Is having that goal every single day. You should think about it, write it down. I love what you said the other day. You got it from your buddy, as far Eddie Milet, I believe, where you're going to have the goals, and you've done this 2019, right, Sean? You have the goals right on your phone because you're always picking up your phone, right? So you're looking at your phone. It just keeps it front of mind, man, and it just gets you keep why. Why are you doing it, and why? You know, why am I making this extra call? Why am I going the extra mile here? And then you see it right on your phone. Oh, that's why. You know, so again, I think it's really critical because a target. Because if you don't have these goals, then how do you really know if you really are growing? You know, it's like, we had a good year, but how do we really know? Or even, take it off the business for a minute with the family. You know, look at it. What are your goals as far as spending time with your kids? Maybe taking a vacation. What are you looking to do? You have that front and center, and then you can develop a plan for it for sure.
Yeah, and the key is that when you set a goal for yourself, it has to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask a lot of people, what is your goal? They'll give you some. I'm going to lose
Yeah.
weight. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to spend more time. Well, the reason that people do that is because there's no accountability in that.
Yeah.
It's very vague. It's very general. Did you spend more time? Yeah, I did. Well, how do you know that? I don't really know that, actually. Right? So you got to get truly specific with these targets because it gives you that specific outcome that you're going to be shooting for. And that's where the accountability comes in, because you can BS people out there, but it's very hard to bullshit yourself because you're going to know, did I accomplish this thing or didn't I? And if you don't have the conviction to sit and write down these goals specifically to exactly what it is you want to achieve, your chances of achieving them are very, very slim. So I think it's important, and there's a lot of formulas out there on how to do some goal setting. But I know we have one that we use here as a team. I've used it for years myself, and I find it to be very simple yet very effective. So I just want to take people through it, and hopefully it serves you as well.
Yeah.
And we did this at our leadership meeting this week, as
Great.
you know.
Yep.
But it's a very simple formula, and it comes down to 3 words: what, why, and how. So the first step is, what is it specifically that you want to accomplish? I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to make X amount of revenue. I want to save X amount. I want to give X amount, whatever it is, but very specifically, what do you want to accomplish? That's step 1. And the key there, a lot of people, again, they'll be vague in it. I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Be specific, write it down. Step 2, why do you want to accomplish it? And this takes some thought, right? It shouldn't just be right there, but you got to really sit and go deep within yourself. Why? And again, if you go back to what Mike from Taiwan taught us, he said in dealing with a lot of issues, he goes at least 3 to 5 whys. That applies here as well. Well, I want to do this. Well, why? Ask yourself, well, why do you want to do it? I want to spend more time with my family. Why? Because I'm really interested in being close to them. Well, why? And just keep going, because ultimately you'll get to the bottom of the big why. Yeah. I really want to do that because it's important to me. I didn't have that in my life, and I know the effect that having a close relationship with a parent can have, so my children will be set up for success. Wow, that's pretty powerful compared to I just want to spend time with my children, right? So asking those 3 to 5 whys of yourself and truly understanding what the purpose of this goal is for yourself.
Did you ever, when just to jump in here real quick, it's like, man, when you're so determined to do something, right? Whatever it is, think back in your lives when you're so determined, like no matter what, you were getting there. And I believe this is what this is, right? When you drive deep and you get to the why of why you really want this. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I just want to make more money. It's obviously deeper than that because I want to give more. I want to be able to, start really putting some money into my daughter's 10 years old now. College, whatever it is, a lot of people give back. I want to help my mom out. I don't want her to work as hard. Whatever that is, really go deep with it, because when shit gets really hard and it gets really tough, you can look back at that and say, oh yeah, okay, that's why I'm moving forward. You keep it going. That will propel you and give you the energy, man. I really believe that.
Yeah, because the tough times will come. Achieving any of these goals or chasing any of these goals that you're setting for yourself. So really understanding that why, do it. Because again, you could use the example, I want to spend more time with my family. Well, we all know life's going to happen. Work's going to get busy. things are going to happen. You got to travel, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's an easy thing to push off. Oh yeah, I'll do that later. But if you have that strong why, you really understand why that's so important to them and their development, their growth, and their life, then you're going to make the time for that sort of thing. So yeah, it's critical that you write down the what, then the why. And then the last step, which also takes time, is writing down the steps of the how. And again, I believe that you should be able to give a basic how in 2 to 3 steps. These are the things that I'm going to do. So you go to your money example again. I want to save more money this year. Specifically, what is that? By the end of the year, I will have saved $5,000. Great. That is a very specific, that is a very good goal. Well, why do you want to do that? Because right now we're living paycheck to paycheck. I'm always worried that if something happens, I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. Whatever that is for you, dig down deep in the why, and then understand the how. Okay, I need to save $5,000 this year. It's 12 months. It's $400 a month. How can I do it? Well, if I stop having that morning latte for $5, that will bring in X amount. If I take a few things and sell them on eBay or Poshmark, I can bring in an extra $100. So specifically, you're giving yourself the steps on how it is you're going to achieve whatever it is that you set out to achieve, and that is rooted in the why. So you have this piece of paper, and it says what, and it says why, and then it says how, and there's 2 to 3 steps. And there it is. You're writing those things out. And having that exercise of writing those steps down, understanding the whys and the whats, writing it down and keeping it somewhere accessible for you makes these goals become real. And I think that is the key. They have to become real, and they have to become that important for you. And then you start to stack the wins, as we've been saying over and over again on the podcast. You'll gain the momentum to take you toward those goals.
And by doing that as well, what I found is when you do that, the goal, it really does look attainable.
Yes.
You're like, wow, I can do this, man. It's not that all that crazy. Like, we can really do it. When you really break it down, you see what you're looking to do. Now that'll even give you more motivation, because look, you can say, I want to save, $100,000 this year, whatever the number is, wherever you're at financially. But if it's not real, when you break it down, now this way you're breaking it down. And now, like you said, number one, it becomes real. And two is you believe it now. Say, wow, I can do this. If we stick to this plan, we're going to be able to accomplish these goals.
Yep.
It's pretty freaking awesome. You said something too at the meeting that really resonated with me. You've heard it before. You're really good at sharing different things that you pick up on in here. But something you said, like when you train every day, you wake up at 4:45 a.m. and you're at the gym at 5. You say you never negotiate with yourself on these goals, right? And I think that's really what it is. Never negotiate with yourself. And that really resonated with me, because you're negotiating things, but if you don't fulfill the promise to yourself, man, your whole day is screwed, right? If the very first thing you say, what, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go work out, and you let yourself down, man, like, how are you going to feel, right? Then you're going to hold other people accountable when you yourself. Don't negotiate with yourself. If you say you're going to get up and work out, freaking do it, man. Do it, and then watch how your day goes from that point. When you're held accountable, you're going to have that confidence to hold others accountable as well. I think it really does make a world of difference. I love how you said that.
Yeah, and I'll get back to that in a sec, because I want to talk about, some top tips from the Core of Success on making 2020 your best year ever. But that's definitely a key component. We'll talk about that in a second. I just want to come back to one more thing you referenced on actually the formula for setting goals. You said about putting it on the phone. You're right. It was Ed Milet that said that. Yeah. And the formula that he gave for that is that you take the goal, which is the what in the scenario we just went through, and you list that on your phone. So let's say you have 5, and I believe that 3 to 5 is the number that most people should shoot for in a year, right? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong, and I'll be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with setting one goal for yourself for the year, right? Mm-hmm. Accomplish that one goal, stack that win. You'll see, as I say, you get that lift, right? You're going to be lifted. You're going to start to accomplish other things. But you take that what, and you make a little screen image, and you put it on the home screen of your phone. So every time you turn it on, again, some people say that people get on their phone 300 times a day, 100, whatever the stats are.
You're
I
on
don't
there.
care. You're on there, right? You see it a lot. And when every time I turn on my phone, I see the 5 goals that I had set for myself. Just, and they're in shorthand. They don't have to mean anything to anybody who happens to see it, but to me, I know exactly what they mean. And it's just a simple reminder, subconscious, if you will, that these are the things that I'm going for. And then on the home screen of my computer, I keep that document where I can double click, and it's on my phone as well. So anytime I'm thinking or I'm not as motivated as I want to be, I saw the what, but then I can double click on that document. I can see the why and I can see the how. And it's really been helpful for me when I started doing it. I just picked up that particular part of the puzzle last year. And I can tell you all the 5 key goals that I had set for myself in 2019, I accomplished. And I believe that was a big part of it because I see them constantly, hundreds of times a week, thousands of times a month. They're there and it just drives me toward it, right? And like I said, that document is always within arm's reach where I can double click and say, okay, why was I doing that again? I don't feel like it. Let me, why? Oh, that's why. Boom. And you're motivated again. So I think it's a really great exercise for people to go through and just do the what, the why, and the how exercise on a piece of paper, and then take the whats and turn them into an image that you can put on the home screen of your phone and see them, constantly.
Yeah, do that too with your teams, guys. Like if you're running a sales team, if you're, heading, you're the manager, you're heading up the organization, really recommend you do this with your teams for sure. You go through this with them and go through this exercise. And it doesn't just have to be business wise. It can be the personal stuff. Like what, we talk about losing weight and things like that. It can be other things too, and then you learn a little bit more about them and what's going to give them juice and but it'll really help everyone that you come, your folks that you work with, in the workplace, but also with your family. Man, I tell you what, it can really have a super big impact in 2020.
Yeah, and you should have goals in the various areas of your life. Like if you looked at the 5 that are on my phone, it's their personal and their business goals for myself. And that you have to be driven in all of those areas to have balance in your life. But let me give you a quick resource if you want to do that on your home screen. There's several, but the one I use an app called Image Quote. And you can put the background whatever you want, but it allows you to create a file, and when you can write on it and all different fonts and everything like that, that easily uploads right to the home screen of your phone. So Image Quote is what I use for that.
Awesome.
But there's several out there, but I found that to be super, super powerful. But if you don't like that, you like to have a picture of your cat or whatever, that's cool too. But the point is just have your goals in somewhere where you're going to see them every single day. Some people have said I tape them to the, my mirror in my bathroom. I see them all the time, or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But here's what I can tell you. If you set these goals and you just tuck them away and hope that they're going to be accomplished by next year, they won't. So put them somewhere where they're front and center, and it'll really serve you. So
yeah, like we talked about real quick when we talked about with the priorities that we're going to have, we say, well, we'll do it, but we're not going to put it on the sheet. And we're like, no, like, when we look at our annual, operating priorities, if it's not on the sheet, or if it's not listed as our goals or some of the drivers we're going to have, we're not going to do it.
Yes.
So same holds true here, right? If you're not writing it down, if you're not putting it there, if you're not putting it front and center, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right, because your attention, the effort's going to go where the attention is, right? And if that, like you said, on our annual operating priorities, there were 2 or 3 times we said, yeah, we'll do that too. We're like, no. And we all had the discipline. It was great because several people stepped up. Wait a minute, no, but we got to put it here, or it just won't get done, because everybody knows the reality, right? It'll just there's going to be a million distractions, because even the best plan on paper is you're going to get interrupted from it. So that's a great tip. But as we wrap this up, we want, as I said at the start of this, we want 2020 to be the best year ever for you. And we want we said it's not going to be the same. It's going to be better, or it's going to be worse. And our wish for all of you, our hope for all of you, prayers for all of you, that it is better. And we know that you can do it. And we hope that some of the tips that we share will serve you in that. But Mike, why don't you give the folks one of your top tips on how to make 2020 the best year ever?
I think number one it goes just right back to what we were talking about. Really make the commitment to sit down, write your goals down, get them on your phone, talk to your family about it, talk to other people, get as many people as you can involved with your goals, what they're looking to do, talk about it, put it out there. And then at the end of the year, man, when you look back, you're going to feel really freaking good. You're like, shit, I accomplished that. I got it. It was on there and I did it. and you
Yep.
build on it. So I think first and foremost, just the basics of getting those goals on paper, writing them down, and really getting to the why. Why do you want to accomplish those? Why are you going to go through? Why are you going to wake up super early on a Saturday morning and do, Sunday work? Why are you going to do it? Because of this reason. So that's my number one thing is get those goals down, get clear on them, and just make it happen.
Yeah, get clear, understand the what, the why, and the how.
Yep.
My first one would be to make this your best year ever is to let go of the old. Let go of the old mindsets, let go of the old habits. And in some cases, yes, let go of the old people. If there are people in your circle that are bringing you down, their goals aren't aligned with yours, people have changed, so on and so forth, or you've changed, you're going in a different direction, you have to have the conviction to do that. So you have to let go of the old, because if you don't, you can't expect to go on to the new, because it will always pull you back.
Yeah, and unfortunately that includes family sometimes, right? If you have family members that are not encouraging you to go after your goals, or you'll never be able to do that. You'll never be able to lose weight. You'll never be able to have your own business. You could have some jealousy factors in there, a lot of stuff, right? A lot of family drama, even family. You really got to look at who you're hanging with, and are these the people that are going to help me grow? Like you said, you never want to be the smartest guy in the room. I mean, typically I never have to worry about that.
No.
I said, See, I said it before you did.
That's right.
Good. But you don't want to you want to be around people where you're learning, you're growing, that gives you the enjoyment. It really does. Not stuck in the same crap, man.
Yeah. Good. Give us another one.
One of my things is really look at every day, and we go back to what gives you joy, man. Really, what gives you joy. And it's like, for me, it is, and we talk about a lot, it's gratitude. Be thankful for what you do have. We're talking about setting goals, and we're talking about going after these things, which I love that, but it also is be thankful for what you do have right now. Be thankful for your health, be thankful for where you are, be thankful for your employees, people you work with, your job, wherever. What you have right now, man, is, I know there's things that you can be thankful for. Lead with gratitude, be thankful, because that will really, really help you every day for sure.
Yeah, I think it's as the saying goes, right? We always want to be content, but we do not want to be complacent. And contentment, the root of that is gratitude. You're happy for where you are right now and everything that you've accomplished, everything that you have, everyone in your life, but it's not enough. You keep going, you find that next thing, that progress that we spoke about. So that's great. And I think for me, you alluded to it earlier, and I referenced the meeting, but it is that never negotiate with yourself. I believe that's the number one key to success. Once you understand what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get there, never negotiate. And the example I use all the time, for 20 years, I've been getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to go to the gym. There hasn't been a time where that alarm has gone off and I said, oh yeah, awesome. Oh boy, I wouldn't want to stay in bed, right?
That's right.
Especially now in the winter, it's cold.
Yeah, it gets cold up here, man. It's cold getting out of that bed.
These blankies. So, but that's the first thing I say, man.
That's right.
Don't negotiate with yourself. And I committed to it. I'm going to do it. And I go ahead and I do it. And the same thing in any other area of your life. I made a commitment back in August of last year to really cut down on alcohol intake. In our business, it's a very social business. And we travel a lot. I'm on airplanes a lot. It's just very easy to, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll have this or that. And you get to the point where you're just not feeling good. Your mind's not as sharp. And I just said, you know what? I don't need that anymore. And I'm not saying I'll never have another drink or anything like that, because again, that's one of those extremes, but I would say 90% of that I've cut out. And, just yesterday we're flight delays, flight cancellations. We're sitting at the bar, thought about it. You know what? Let me take this edge off a little glass of wine. I said, no, don't negotiate with yourself. Boom, club soda it is. And that, I believe, is one of the strongest things that you can do. Once you really understand what and why and the how, just lock it in. Don't negotiate with yourself. And I physically say those words to myself when that alarm goes off, or when I'm about to veer off a path of a goal I've set for myself. Don't negotiate with yourself. I just say it in my head, and it's really served me well. So I think that if we can do those things, that 2020 can be, one of the best years of my life. And I, for one, am looking forward to that.
Hell yeah, man. Definitely. Big things in 2020 for sure. And just a year for me of learning, continue to learn, continue to grow, get better every single day. Don't negotiate with yourself. I love that, man. That is awesome. But yeah, man, just keep going, keep growing, and don't stop. Just
Keep
don't
going,
stop.
keep growing. I love it.
That's it, baby.
Well,
Don't
guys,
stop.
we really appreciate you being here with us on episode 21, the first Core of Success podcast of 2020. Lots more to come this year.
yeah.
Thank you. And until next time, remember, the core of success is you.
Big things.